Hello everyone, Ceri the Crafter here, that's C-E-R-I the Crafter. And today, when I was trying to decide what I wanted to do today, I had a hankering to revisit my grid journal. Because I did one, was it last week, last month? I think I did one last month. I've kind of lost track of time, to be honest. And I decided that because the cover wasn't done, I decided every time I have scraps from the ones I do inside, I'm going to collage them onto the front. So there you go. So the first time I did it, this is what I achieved. You were all very complimentary. Thank you very much. And I did learn lessons from this, which I'm eager to try and sort out this time. So just finding my way forward. And someone did say, Ceri, make sure you date and sign it, as you know. So I did date and sign it. So I've sort of skipped ahead by one step. I've already penciled out. I have a template here that I made a while ago, and what I'm going to do is, because a lot of people will draw around a piece of card or they'll draw around a block of post-it notes or something, I find it easier to make a template. So I mean, I've got the square one here, I've got the rectangular one here. I'll just put those to one side so I don't damage them while I'm working. So, and over time I'll make up different ones. So I've already done my pencil lines on here. Now when I did this last time, I did the pencil lines and then I drew in the black lines, which I do with a permanent marker, a micron. This is a 0.5, is it? Oh yeah, of course, that's what that means, a 0.5. And I did the line at the end. I think this time I'm going to do it at the beginning. So I'm just going to come in. And as you know, I like to do a double line. So I'm not worried that things go too awry with my lines, because as we know, I'm trying to actually embrace giving up my perfectionism, which I think I'm getting there, to be honest with you guys. Because the Ceri at least a year ago would have grabbed a ruler here, and probably if I hadn't got every single page perfect, I would have torn the page out, thrown it away and started again. So here we go, I've done them all, and I've just used a soft eraser just to take them out. And I decided to put the lines around first, because I found when I did the first one, I sort of was a bit careless because I thought, oh, I can just change it when I put the lines around afterwards. So I quite like the fact that I've done a really loose line. They're evenly spaced. It's fine. That's as perfect as I need it to be at this station time. Now, as with most things, I need some sort of starting point. So I pulled these out. These are my arty pages, painty book pages, I think I'll call them. You've seen me do them before, and I quite liked this feel, this color combination. I was a bit torn between which of these I really liked, so I thought, bring them both out. And then I like that, and these sort of all have that sort of muted tone to them. Now, I could use some of these in the squares. I may not use any of these in the squares, but I wanted these to set my color palette. So I love that color green, and it's a chalk paint, and it's this color green. Loving that. Then let's see what else. There was a deep pink or vibrant pink, and this is Pink Fuchsia by Dilutions. This pink, I believe, is Peony Pink, also by Dilutions, Diane Reevely. There was this sort of pale colour. Now it's just a box. What am I talking about? It's a bottle of mixed up colours that I just have, and I know that will give me that creamy sort of colour. There is yellow in here, and I thought, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix some white with this Pure Sunshine and take it back to sort of that pale lemony sort of colour. The terracotta is here, so I've got terracotta. And then I also pulled this in, which is caramel, which I thought would pull this in as well. I didn't pull the blue in, because for some reason, of all of these three, the blue doesn't feel right. So I'm just going to put those up by there, just so I can... I'm not sure you'll see them. You'll probably just see the bottom of the pages, but just so they're in my eyesight. Now, I want to start off by putting something pale-ish into the background. And I think probably my starting block is going to be this green that I really like. It's almost like a sea glass green, or or you call it a sage green maybe. It's that sort of colour. And what I'm going to do is now, at Christmas, I treated myself to these. These are silicone paint shapers, I believe they're called. And I've seen other people use them, and I bought them and I played with them once on my gel plate because they would damage them. Really loved them, put them onto one side and completely forgot them. And I was tidying up yesterday and went, oh, look, there they are. So I'm going to use... I might try and use both of those actually. I'm going to play with these because I normally use a credit card, as you know, but I think I'm going to use those, right? Let's have something. How much room have I got? If I use that on the side, I can put some paint on there. And as always, I've got my textbooks where I can just clean up spare paint onto afterwards. So I'm going to come in first of all with a little one. And what I want to do is I want to just come in and add bits. I don't have to have it perfect. That's not what this is about, as we know. It doesn't even have to be straight. It can be whatever I want it to be. I'm going to be aware, though, that I don't always start in the top right-hand corner, because I always start in the top right-hand corner. I mean of the box itself, so just to contradict myself, let's pull one in down here. And again, I don't mind that I go over the line, although I'd rather not go over the line, but I'm not going to beat myself up. So I was quite surprised the amount of people who'd never heard of grid journaling. Now, I heard about it several years ago, as I said, in my first video. Actually, I might link the first one down there, so then I won't be repeating myself if someone wants to find out more about it. I sort of covered how I discovered it in that video, so I'll put the link to that one down below. But yeah, I was really surprised by how many people hadn't heard of it. So it was good. I was bringing it to a new audience. I like that. I'm trying not to be symmetrical, which is another thing I struggle with. I tend to like things to be balanced. But I also learnt from the last one of these I did that I should have dried my painted areas in between, because some of them actually gave me a little bit of mud. Right, I don't want things to be absolutely balanced, but I would like to put this into one or more space, that one there. So yeah, I like these. I mean, I've got a few clay making tools that are silicone that I can use on the gel plate, and I like using them on the gel plate because of course they don't damage the gel plate. Right, so that's the first of that down. Now I'm going to just clean that off there. I mean, even if it was dry, it wipes off. Right, so I've got this spare paint here. So let's grab a card, and I'm just going to come in and not flick it over the book itself, but just try and put some on these pages, just because, as you can see, I use them. So hopefully you're all doing okay. Here in Wales, we've got horrible weather. It's absolutely, I nearly wasn't able to film today because it's so dark out there. We had torrential rain up until about an hour ago, and I thought, there's no way I can't make a video today. I just really didn't think I'd get one done. So we've got a break in the weather, so fingers crossed, people, that I'm actually able to finish this video before it all closes in on me again. Right, so I'm just building up layers, as you can see. Put that there. So this is probably not the last time I put green on here, but it's the last time for the moment. Now, I think I want to grab a paintbrush this time. Just a paintbrush, just regular paintbrush. This one's a little stiff. I must have been using it for glue or something. And I want to put the pale stuff into the background. So just put a little bit of that down. Lesson to myself, I don't need as much as I did before. And I'm going to try and just, see, I'm starting on the left-hand side again, aren't I? Start on the right-hand side, Griffiths. Challenge yourself. I have enjoyed this process, I must admit. As I said, the first time I tried this a few years ago, I was not enamoured of it. In fact, as you hear me say in the original video, I actually tore it up and threw it away. I couldn't get it. But as I keep saying to everyone, we all evolve. Well, I hope we evolve. Devolving would be a problem. But yeah, so it was good. I liked it. And now I sort of get it. And if there's anything that's taught me, it's like maybe those techniques I tried a couple of years ago, I should try again, because just because I didn't get it the first time doesn't mean that I won't get it now. It's like, what's the other one that I tried? Oh yeah, I tried neurographic art. But that did not work for me in the slightest. But you know, maybe now that I've actually done some Zentangling, not that I Zentangle, but I use Zentangle as a way to learn how to doodle better. And as I'm enjoying my doodling, then maybe, just maybe, I should think to try and do neurographic art again. I'm not saying it's something I didn't feel that it was offering me anything, but I shouldn't have dismissed it so quickly. I think that's enough of that. Let's come in and just put some of these on here. Just if I just do marks on here, eventually they'll all become something in a layer. Let's just pick that up off there with the book itself. So I'm liking that combination to start with already. So that's a good thing. I'll just wipe the worst of the paint off there and pick that up later. Right, now I did want to put some of the yellow into here as well. And to do the yellow, I'm going to have to mix a little bit of white with a touch of this liquid sunshine. And this is a very fluid paint. They don't normally come with these adapters. I just happen to have a couple of these adapters, and I wanted to put them onto here because it made it easier for me. Right. How do I want to apply this? Let's just do a finger painting. There's nothing wrong with getting your fingers involved. So, oh, that's a pretty colour. It's almost like a cream colour. And I'm not just sticking to set boxes. I am intending to use all of the boxes on these 2 pages. However, if there's a bit where I go, oh, I'd like a bit of yellow in with the green, I'm putting yellow in with the green, or yellow in with the cream colour, I will do that. I mean, I'm going to be putting white in at some point. As I said, I may actually come through and put some of the collage papers I created in there as well. I'd like that one to be to an edge. I don't like it like that. And then I know that I've pulled out a stencil that I want to use for the mark making on the end. I think what I did with the first time I did it, like the one I just showed you, is I think I tried too hard. And that's something I tend to do a lot, is I see someone else doing something and then I try really hard to emulate what I've seen them do. And that's not always the best thing to do. I mean, as I've said before, I like to take inspiration from other people, but I don't necessarily want to duplicate what they're doing. I just get inspired by their idea. If it's a technique I can do and then twist to be my own, I will also do that. Let's just pick up that bit of paint with this. Just literally blot it down and pick it up and swipe it. You'd be surprised how quickly these pages build up. I'm getting quite a box of these little pages. See, all interest already. And it's just a background made from spare paint. Right. Now where am I up to? I think I would like to put some white into these before I start with any other colour. And maybe I'll come in with white with that paintbrush again. So if you've had a go at this, let me know. I know several people said they were going to do this, but whether you managed to or not, I don't know. I'm just doing some mark making at this point, so I mean, I'm doing stripes, I'm doing boxes, just anything that comes to mind, to be honest, just to add a little bit of interest into this. If there's one thing I was slightly disappointed in when I made this journal for my grid journaling is I wish the pages had been white, but this mixed media paper is sort of an off-white colour, and I wish it had been white because I like the white space I see in other people's work, but I'm not going to be able to do it unless I paint the squares white first, and that doesn't feel right. So I think after I've done this, because I've got white on the go, I might try and put a bit of pink into these and then get them dried and then decide whether I want to come in with some of the collage papers, because I do feel I want to add those because that's one of the reasons I made them in the first place. Okay, I like the subtlety of this. Right, let's put a little bit of pink. Let's go with this one, which is Peony Blush. And I'm choosing this one because the other one, ooh, well, there you go. That's what happens when you do art live. Right, so we've now got this on the page, so we're going to embrace that. And I'm just going to get a bit of tissue, pick it up from there, and I'm going to print it across to somewhere else. Because as my cake decoration teacher used to tell me, if you can't conceal it, reveal it. And by that, she actually meant you feature it somewhere else. So I'm literally going to come in and just using that random shape with this bit of tissue, I'm going to go across areas that I hadn't intended to do. Right, you're seeing it here, folks. You've seen it live, but you shouldn't let things like that phase you. Just go, okay, it's not ruined. It's just changed. So there you go. Let's go get this on my hands now. Let's see if I've got any more on any of the pages that I can wipe off. Yeah, I can. That'll be fine. Right, so I've still got some of this stuff here, and I wanted to put pale stuff into here. So I think I'm going to. I think, however, as I've got that on there now, I think I want to find something to make a mark with. So let's see if I've got something in here. Right, I've got a cork. Let's use that end. Maybe we'll circle those with black later or something. I am liking this colour palette. It's a good way to play with a limited palette. That's something I'm definitely feeling about working like this. Right, I don't want to put in everyone, but I can actually come through and put some of them on here. So there you go. So I guess the fates have decided this is how I'm going to do this piece. So let's just put a bit of that across there. And once again, just pick up the spare with whatever the book picks up. Right, I'm definitely going to have to dry this now because some of these pieces are a lot thicker than just a normal brush stroke because where it's splattered and I picked it up. So here we go. That was an accident, but you know what? It now looks purposeful. I actually like this colour palette. I need to remember this one. It sort of works for me. Right, now I was going to introduce this colour, but I think if I did mark making with this colour on here, all of a sudden it would get really, really messy. So I think what I'm going to do is, this was the piece, one of the pieces that inspired this. And I think I'm going to take pieces of this and actually add it to this. What I want to do is I want to tear it into strips. Find a tear ruler. Let's use my metal tear ruler. I want to tear it into strips so that, yes, it'll be a little more uniform than I normally do, but I don't mind that. I quite like the idea of it being in strips. They don't have to be wide strips. They don't have to be perfectly parallel. They just need to be pieces. Let's see. Let's take that piece out of there. And I want that bit off there. So that will give me two lots of interest, which vary slightly. I would quite like this darker piece right in the middle of here. As I said, and I've decided that any spare bits of torn book pages will then become stuff that I do on, well, I like that square there, will become, oh, speak Griffiths, for goodness sake, parts of the cover. Gosh, that was hard. Darcy, I understand what you mean by words are hard. Right, so I quite like some of the variety I've got there. And looking, I quite like some of this here. So I think we're going to take this apart. Do I mind that? Yes, I do. I want that there. And because I'm sticking it over acrylic paint, I am more than likely, well, not more than likely, I know I'm going to use art glitter glue. I'm not going to use glue stick for this because it just wouldn't work. I think it would peel back up. So we're in shot? I am in shot. So anyone who's unfamiliar with art glitter glue, this is what I mean by art glitter glue. This is the brand. You need to order it not in the winter time, because they don't ship it in the winter time, because apparently it freezes, which I didn't know what that meant. I've never seen it freeze. So I'm not concerned that it's exactly torn straight. I just literally want to get it down on here. I also like art glitter glue because it's a very quick grip. I suppose if you weren't worried about the time it takes to dry, you could easily use something like PVA glue, something like that. Okay, I am liking that. Right, let's have a look. So the bits and pieces over here, I'm being drawn to these that don't have the white on it for some reason. That will go across there. This was decorated with a stencil by Darcy Sanders called More Messy Borders, I believe it's called. It's a PM Artist Studio one. I will endeavour to put the link in the description box below. Why am I dropping stuff over everything today? But yeah, it's a lovely stencil. I've used it a couple of times now. And I think what I'm going to do is, it'll probably be the one I use to do the final layer on this. I'm very aware that I could quite easily go too far at the moment. I'm really liking where this is at. I'll go that way. And if you're going to say, why did I do that? I don't know. I just do it. It popped into my little grey skull. Oh, I wonder if it'll go there. No, I do like it there. I am tending to line things up vertical and horizontal. I think if these weren't rectangles or squares, I would be more willing to veer off to one side, but I don't know, it feels right to be doing. Also, it's the way I am. If you've followed me for some time now, you know that's sort of how I function best, is in horizontals and verticals. So yeah, I have gone quiet. Guess what I'm thinking? Okay, I do need more of this. I'd like to vary the width a little bit too. Oh, there you go, vary it with this one. I think I'd quite like to put something a little sketchy sort of feel to this. I mean, as you saw, I didn't use a graphite pencil in this like I did in the previous one. And I only used it in the previous one because that's why I see everyone starting off doing these with. But I didn't feel it for this one. So I think I'd like to put some sort of mark in here. But what it is, I don't know. And I don't think I want that next to that. It's a bit too long. I did have one comment from somebody who said, "Oh, I could never do that," and purely because they're like me. They don't want to lose control of what they're creating. I felt exactly the same way. I truly did. As I stopped dripping glue everywhere, Griffiths. I truly did feel like that. But it's actually quite liberating when you do just stick stuff down. So, I mean, I'm not saying it's for everyone. I mean, we all know that if art was the same for everyone, it wouldn't be interesting. But I am finding this interesting. Although, as you can see, I am a creature of habit about where I place things, and they're on the edges or they're not on the edges. I mean, I could have come through and cut these into circles. I could have torn them into triangles. I could have done anything like that. I quite like that bit there. And that's another reason I like doing stuff like this. It's play. I'm under no pretense that I'm ever going to sell this as a piece of art. I'm under no pretense that it's going to be hanging on a wall somewhere. But you know what? As part of a creative journey, just playing like this is so important. I do want that bit in there. I think this is the last bit of this I'm going to do. I'm wondering whether I want to put any form of text in here. I hadn't really considered that before, but there's no reason why I couldn't stamp some text into here. Or does that feel too predictable? Right, let's clean up my little pieces, because these will all get, well, if they're really small pieces, they might become clusters, they may become other stuff. Well, they will become other stuff, they're certainly not going in the bin. Now, I did intend doing mark making over the top of this with black as the final drama, because you know me, I like the final drama. So I'm looking at this caramel color. I think the terracotta is too stark, but I do quite like the look of this. And I'm wondering whether I've got something that I can actually just put marks in with that I feel I want to do. Let me just grab one of my foam stamps, one of my own foam stamps. Right, so we've got ups and downs. I don't want to do dots. I wonder, would that be too much? No, I think I'll do that. I want to say it's called Sketchy Squares. and I'm going to stamp in acrylic paint because I feel more comfortable stamping in acrylic paint. I've got a little tiny gel plate here, which I think I explained in the last video. I got it on eBay. There were a set of 3 of them. It was when I very first started out. I think it was a no brand one. I mean, I can't even, because it feels a bit like a rubber instead of a gel plate, to be honest, but I didn't know I was doing it. It's the first time I was trying to buy gel plates, and I didn't know about gel press. I didn't know about jelly arts. I was just trying to, it intrigued me, and I wanted to know what it was about. Right, I have got some magazine pages here to mask things off so I don't go awry with it. Right. So yes, since owning this little one, I actually now do have, is it the round, the triangle, and the square or something? The 3-inch ones that you can buy. By Gel Press, I've got those. Right. I want to put it in here. Again, I tap it down until I can see it on the side, and then I'm going to come in and pop it in. Yes, that was a good colour choice. There's quite a bit on there, but I fancy popping a bit by there. I'm not purposefully not going outside the box, but I would prefer not to go outside the box. If I go outside the box or the outline, I am not worried about it. I just, there you go, I went over the edge there. Not on purpose because you were all watching, but purely because it just feels right. That one needs something. I do enjoy this process. I know I've probably said that already so many times in this video, but I am really enjoying the freedom this sort of gives me. And it's not like something I did before. If anything, these double page spread thing with these rectangles just reminds me of 16 ATCs or artist trading cards, which is an interesting thought. I mean, I could always just cut them out. I don't think they're the right size for artist trading cards, but I think this one here needs something. I go in the top of that one. There you go. Right, I think I'll put that to one side a second and pull in the pages we've been doing and just literally use up this on here. And again, this may appear in a future video as a texture sheet. And as you can see, this one, the joys of using a smaller stamp with an organic edge. I mean, it looks like a whole sheet of the same pattern. It looks like it was done with a bigger stamp, but it wasn't. It was done with a small stamp. Right, this can do with a little bit of lightening up on it. And there's no need to waste that paint there. There you go. So where are we at? Okay, I'm really liking that. Really liking that. I think once I put the black into this, which I'm going to do in a moment, this will be finished. What I do need to do though is I need to get this into water. I need to get this and this washed because I need to use black in a second. So I'm back and it's dry. I'm ready to put the black on. I was contemplating coming with white and sort of blending these pieces into the background, but I talked myself into it and talked myself back out of it again. So what I want to do now is, this is that More Messy border stencil by Darcy Sanders. And there's this bit here that I really quite like. And I think I want to put into certain areas. Now, again, I have to be careful because, oh, actually, would that one? No, actually, I need some rigidity in this, I think. I'm going to have to be careful because I'm using the same stencil in black in different areas. So I'm going to have to make sure if it has bled through, I clean it off before I put it back on the page, or I'll just be transferring black across. And I've still got some magazine page, and I pulled out my sticky notes on my post-it notes so I can mask off stuff if I'm a little bit terrified of what's going to happen. So, and I'm thinking of using it in such a way that if it's on the top, it might line up with something in another square as well. I don't know, my brain is trying to work that bit out at the moment. Right, so I'm just using Mars Black, only a little tiny bit. I don't need a lot. If this doesn't stencil through dark, I don't mind. And I've got a bit of a makeup sponge. I've got a bit of a makeup sponge. I've got a makeup sponge. And what I want to do is I want to mask off those two. Actually, you know what? I am going to do them individually, and I'm not going to try and line them up with each other. That's just setting myself up for a disaster. So tapping a bit of paint on and almost tapping it all back off again, I'm going to come in and tap through. And this is one thing I really like about the flexibility of Yupo stencils, is the fact that I can just bend this back and see that it's working, and it has. Check the back of my stencil, it didn't come through. So I'm going to move this over to this edge. And repeat it down here. I would rather build up the layers of black than come in and do one thick coat and then find that it's bled under the stencil. That will also be determined on the consistency of your paint as well, because if you've got really thin, loose paint, it's likely to go underneath it. I mean, there's a little tiny bit there, but I'm okay with that so far. Which one do I want? I want that one there. Now it looks like it's almost a repeating design, this, so I'm not worried too particularly that it's in more than one place. I want to get that so it's on the bottom edge, but I can't get my head there because guess what? There's a camera in the way. Dab on, dab off. And I don't mind if it doesn't go all the way, it fades out. That's also good. I'm going to have to add something to the others because, checking it's not bleeding through, because some of these squares are looking really quite empty. Empty isn't a problem, but it's not what I'm looking for. I want some more drama, so I may have to consider adding another colour, or adding a colour I've got in maybe a stenciled or a mark making format. Come on, I can't pick you up. Just double check. Right, it's beginning to come through there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay this down on something and press a bit of paper on the back just to clean it off, because you may not be able to see that very clearly, but that's the sort of stuff that contaminates the rest of your work. Let me take that off there so it doesn't get stuck. Actually, I wonder whether I just do some squiggly lines or something. Oh, hello, baby. A cute little baby. So I'm going a little quiet from time to time, guys. So I'm just It's my brain is just trying to figure this out. I mean, I know you like me to tell you what my thought process is, but sometimes I need a quiet moment to have a thought process within. I think this bit here just needs a little tiny bit on it. Not a whole stripe, just that. Right, this can go to one side. I can use it again in a minute, but I just want to get this out of my way because we know black. Black is going to go everywhere. Right, let's get that off my fingers. I do need to add something else to this. I'm wondering what it should be. Right, so we had greens. The only thing I didn't put on here was that terracotta colour, and I'm glad I didn't put the terracotta colour on here. I'm wondering whether, I think that's going to be too. I think if I do something subtle with this, and when I say subtle, I mean subtle in size as far as mark making goes. Just need to think for a second. Find something that fits within. Like there's this, which will give me a really fine line. That's a cap off a tube of something. I do have these, which are, these are off the end of TPs. Well, it says TP on them. If you know what a TP is, it's for cleaning sheath. I think I'm going to do this. It's going to be really subtle, and I don't mind that. Right. And I know because this is a fluid paint that it's not going to give me a crisp line, because what it's going to do is it's going to be a bit blobby on the inside. See, but I like that. That's I like the way that curves around that. But it still feels like it needs something. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe I just need to learn to go, it's done. It's not done. I know it's not done. I need something. Right, what's this? Let's just tear a little bit of this corrugated card, because it'll be easier for me to manipulate if it's not bigger than the square to start with. Just tear that piece off there. Now I think I don't want to go more contrasty, or do I? I wonder what would happen if I used the colour that I didn't put on here in the end and mix it with some of this. Let's see what colour we get out of that, people. There's that brush again. Actually, you know what? That looks almost terracotta to me. That'd be ironic, wouldn't it? I was trying not to use terracotta and I've made terracotta. Right, where's that piece of card gone? Right, I'm going in, folks. Let's be brave. Okay, I don't mind that. That's okay. I'm all right with that. I like the fact that it's, and here's that word again, almost organic in its nature. Well, not almost organic, it is organic in its nature. I'm liking this. This was a good one. I like the colour choices. I do. I really like the colour choices in this. I've got to be so careful. I'm so close to overdoing this. Is there anything that's blaringly? Yes, that's blaringly obvious. It needs something. A little bit by there. And a little bit by there. Stop, Griffiths. Just stop. Don't do any more. I think that's it. Right, I'm trying to move stuff out of the way so that we can have a better look at this. Let's clear that up to the top. I'm liking that. And I think for once I kind of stopped in time. This did slightly annoy me, this accident, but I'm not going to let it bother me. I wanted nice clean areas between. I know someone will say, well, you could go in white and paint in between to tidy it up. It's not white paper. So it would take me a lifetime to try and work out exactly what shade of whatever colour it is. But you know what? It's kind of messy, but it's kind of not messy. There's no focal point, but it's not supposed to have a focal point. I like where that's gone. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. I need to dry it off, but you don't need to sit around watching me dry it off. So, guess what, guys? I'm Ceri the Crafter. That's Ceri the Crafter. Until next time. Goodbye now.